Hello and welcome to Scout Trout YouTube. I am getting a ton of submissions by the hour, hundreds for the top 25s. Today we're going to talk about Texas A&M and why we have them ranked so highly at collegefootballtoday.org. Um, as you may have seen before, I put Kellen Mond for the Heisman Trophy this year, and it's very well deserved. I am not seeing why Texas A&M is not being talked about more. Michigan's being talked about a lot. I'm going to talk about them next. I don't see it like I see it at Texas A&M this year. We're forgetting last year they barely lost to Clemson 28-26, who ended up winning the national championship. Let's look at last year's schedule, which was, you know, Jimbo doesn't mess around when it comes to the schedule. So they barely beat Nicholls State in 2017, which is a little crazy to me. But then that was Kellen Mond's first year at quarterback. This year, in 2018, 28-26 in their second game against Clemson. Very close game. They arguably should have won in College Station. This year they'll be traveling to Clemson, so it's going to be a different story. They're really going to have to step up, and Kellen's going to have to deliver dimes like I seen him delivering at the Texas A&M Aggie spring ball game. Kid looked phenomenal. He looked like he really got into his groove in his third year. Looking at his stats from last year, over 3,000 yards passing, 135 QB rating, 24 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Not that bad. He's progressed each year beautifully. His first year as a freshman started 10 games, only threw 8 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, had a little over 1,000 yards passing. He is a good runner, almost 500 yards rushing, so he's got that dual threat presence, and I really like him this year for the Heisman Trophy if they can beat the likes of Clemson. Looking at it even further here down the road, they barely lost to Auburn 28-24. Bad loss to Mississippi State. Little inconsistent. They beat Kentucky. Got beat pretty bad by Alabama, but Alabama creamed everybody last year. It was 45-23. Really looking at it, they beat NC State to finish the season in the Gator Bowl. Everybody remembers that epic LSU game where they won and beat LSU 74-72. It's like a basketball score. So they got the offense to do it. Will the defense step up? Will they be able to stop Trevor Lawrence and the likes of Travis Etienne when they travel to Clemson this year? Who knows? We will find out shortly. I believe that's a scare game for Clemson. I think it's a game that could put the Aggies on the map in 2019. Going out on a limb this year, 2019, once again, scheduled a very tough schedule. No slouch in Texas State. That's the first game they're going to play this season on 8/29 at 7:30 p.m. in College Station. I'm very excited to maybe possibly go to that game since I'm in striking distance. Clemson, they will travel to them, as I said, on the second game of the season, 9/7 at 2:30 p.m. This is going to be a very good football game like it was last year. They're going to have to come to play. Going into Death Valley, the real Death Valley, they're going to have to bring their A game. And Kellen Mond, I think, from what I've seen and what I've seen out of that offense, is ready to do so. Then, rare FCS opponent on a Jimbo Fisher schedule, we will see them play Lamar, and then they travel to. Then Auburn comes to College Station. I really like their chances there. They play a tough schedule, like I said. They're going to have to run in again to the likes of Arkansas, who they barely beat last year, and then Alabama. Alabama on 10-12 is going to be the game to watch if they can beat Clemson. If they beat Clemson, that's going to be an epic showdown in College Station. Looking at their schedule, then they run into Georgia at the end of the season. Georgia is going to be a really good team this year. If they can win 2 out of those 3 games, Clemson, Alabama, Georgia, I see them making it into the CFP. They also got LSU again at the end of the season. They're going to have to go through a gauntlet. South Carolina on 11/16/2019. That's going to be a really good game. I'm really excited to see Texas A&M play this year. I think they got a lot of great weapons. Their running back left for the NFL, Travion I believe was his name, and he had a epic season last year. So a lot of offensive production is lost in that respect, but they should be able to really pick it up on Kellen Mond's arm to be able to put up 74 points or whatever against LSU. I mean, that's unbelievable. LSU is supposed to have a great defense. LSU beat UCF in the bowl game. UCF was missing their starting quarterback, which I believe had a lot to play, a lot of the big factor in that game, obviously. Looking at it some more, the schedule, UTSA, that's a win. Ole Miss, that's a win. Um, they can't play inconsistent ball, though. Last year, they were a little inconsistent and, lost some games that they shouldn't have. And I think that played a factor in their whole season. I think Jimbo has guys ready this year from learning more from my Aggies insider, Michelle Miller. She really has the inside scoop on what's going on over there. We had a lot of debate on why we ranked them number 5 this year. I really think they have all the tools needed to pull an upset against Clemson or Alabama. If they lose to Clemson and beat Bama and beat Georgia and beat LSU, I still see them making it into the college football playoff because Clemson was the national champion last year. It was 28-26. It was a great game, and we're going to highlight more of that game and what has transpired since at College Football Today in the Aggies land. They got a great facility. Kyle Field's going to be rocking. I don't see it being a bad season in Texas A&M. I think they're going to be top 10 no matter what when it's all said and done at the end of the season, getting a great bowl game. But I do see them as a contender this year for the college football playoff. Nobody's talking about them because of their schedule, I believe. It is a tough one. It's one of the toughest in the country when you look at the top dogs in the SEC. And I think this year is going to be a great year for the Aggies, though. I think they can win. I think they can win big. And